So it is in this context that the United States has taken lethal, targeted action against al-Qaeda and its associated forces, including with remotely piloted aircraft commonly referred to as drones. The very precision of drone strikes and the necessary secrecy often involved in such actions can end up shielding our government from the public scrutiny that a troop deployment invites. It could also lead a president and his team to view drone strikes as a cure-all for terrorism.
Ukraine this spring is battling a new Russian offensive. The 4-year-old conflict has brought drone warfare to the front lines and made expensive conventional weapons obsolete.
From the skies above Kandahar in 2001 to the streets of Kiev in 2022, drones have reshaped the face of war. Once experimental machines, they are now central to military strategy worldwide. This is the story of how unmanned aerial vehicles, drones, move from niche technology to decisive instruments of power. Before we start, make sure to hit the like and subscribe button for more videos like this. The idea of pilotless aircraft dates back to the First World War, when rudimentary remote-controlled planes were tested. Through the Cold War, drones were used mainly as targets for training and limited reconnaissance. It was not until the late 20th century that drones gained serious military roles. Israel pioneered their use in Lebanon and Gaza, demonstrating their value in surveillance and electronic warfare. By the 1990s, the United States adopted systems like the Predator, capable of long-endurance flights and real-time intelligence. In 1982, during the Lebanon War, Israeli forces used drones to trick Syrian radar. The unmanned aircraft flew patterns that exposed enemy defenses, allowing Israeli jets to strike without losses. It was a turning point. Drones had proven they could change the outcome of battle without risking pilots. On October 7th, 2001, during the U.S. campaign in Afghanistan, a Predator drone carried out what is often cited as the first fatal drone strike, equipped with Hellfire missiles. Drones became both scouts and strike platforms in Iraq, Yemen, and Somalia. They were used extensively against insurgent groups, offering persistent surveillance and precision targeting. This marked a turning point where drones were no longer auxiliary tools, but frontline weapons. In Afghanistan, commanders described how drones could hover for hours above mountain valleys, tracking insurgent movements invisible to ground patrols. One Predator followed a convoy for nearly a day before relaying coordinates that led to a precision strike. For soldiers on the ground, drones became a lifeline. Silent guardians in the sky. Outside superpower militaries, drones found new life in improvised warfare in Syria and Iraq. Militants modified commercial quadcopters to drop grenades. In Ukraine, soldiers used consumer drones for artillery spotting and frontline reconnaissance. In Africa, the state and non-state actors deployed drones for border surveillance and tactical advantage. These adaptations showed that drones were not confined to wealthy nations. They became accessible tools of asymmetric warfare. In 2017, footage from Mosul showed militants flying quadcopters over narrow streets, dropping small explosives on advancing Iraqi troops. Well, the drones were crude but effective, forcing armies to adapt quickly to a threat that cost only a few $100s. As drones proliferated, militaries developed countermeasures, electronic jammers, anti-drone rifles, and radar systems. At the same time, research into swarm technology, coordinating hundreds of drones at once, opened new possibilities. The paradox was clear. Inexpensive drones could challenge billion-dollar defense systems. The balance of power was shifting, not through tanks or jets, but through small buzzing machines. In 2019, reports emerged of drone swarm attacking oil facilities in Saudi Arabia. The strikes temporarily disrupted global energy markets, showing how even small-scale drone attacks could ripple across the world economy. It was a stark reminder that drones were not just battlefield tools, they were instruments of global disruption. Drone warfare is no longer the future, it is the present. From surveillance in Africa to precision strikes in Ukraine, drones have become inseparable from modern conflict. But as artificial intelligence begins to command these machines, the question remains, will wars of tomorrow be fought by soldiers or by algorithms? To get more videos like this, make sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel.